Welcome back to Fourth and Forever. I'm your host, Mark Sanchez, with one of my favorite people, former teammates, favorite athletes of all time. Happy Father's Day, Reg.
Thanks,
Reggie
man.
Bush.
I appreciate it. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that, man. Same to you.
Thank you for taking the time. Thank you very much. I know being a dad has changed you. It's changed your life, changed mine a ton. I got to read 3 of these stats. I want you to replay this for your kids. If they ever think their dad wasn't an absolute baller, remind them, until Joe Burrow, you had the highest percentage possible voting points for the Heisman Trophy at 91.8. Burrow edged you out with 93.8. But until Burrow, you had the highest number of votes, okay?
Yeah.
Then you became the 3rd person on the planet, that is planet Earth, to win a Heisman, win a college football national championship, and a Super Bowl with the New Orleans Saints. Pretty incredible.
Dang. I didn't know that.
Then, I don't know if you knew this, but I was keeping track for you as your PR guy.
That,
in the NFL, they said Reggie Bush is not an every down back. But then you go out and rush for 1,000 yards, not once, but twice, with 2 different organizations, with the Dolphins and the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, man.
How about that, man?
I
mean, guys, we got some. You're in rarefied air, buddy. Yeah, you didn't even know that stuff. See, that's what we do on this show.
I didn't know that, man. I appreciate that. That was pretty cool. I'm gonna make sure my kids know that too.
They better know that. But tell me about your kids. How has being a dad changed you? I know we just had Father's Day. What'd you guys do? I know it's been a little different with COVID and all that, but give me one of your favorite dad moments.
Well, yesterday we spent some time with my dad. My dad came down, and he got a chance to hang out with my kids, and we went out to eat. I took my dad out to breakfast earlier, and then my wife actually was hiking in the morning with my kids. And so after I took my dad to breakfast, and then my wife came back with our kids, we hung out at the house, and my dad played with my kids for a little bit. It was really laid back. Obviously, there's not a whole lot to do right now, other than going to the park, maybe into the beach, and golfing. But it's not a whole lot of activities, for kids to do right now. So it was fun, and it was just, more family oriented. You asked for one of my favorite dad moments.
Yeah.
From yesterday or just in general?
Just in general. One of my favorites was you went on a rant that I loved about your kids before bedtime and all the excuses they make why they can't go to bed. Whether it's something like that, something fun, something serious, or a teachable moment that you've had with your kids.
Night time is like every kid's worst nightmare. None of them want to go to sleep. They all hate it. And I think every kid got together and they came up with what's the best way we can stress our parents out at nighttime? And I think they all came up with that perfect thing. My kids give me something new every day, though. I love them to death, and that's why I appreciate every opportunity with my kids every day. Because 1, you never know when our last day is going to be here on Earth, and for 2, there's just every day is just they wake up with new energy, right? And they wake up with this refresh mentality to go out and attack the day, go have fun. They give me something new every day, man, and it's a lot of fun because I'm learning every day from my kids, and I think that's what I try to remember, all the time, is just how much they're teaching me.
No doubt. I love that. Yeah, my kid's notorious for leaving something in the bathroom or in my room, whether it's like his little stuffed animal or something. And right as I'm giving him the goodnight kiss, oh, Dad, I forgot Chase from Paw Patrol, or I forgot, Rubble from Paw Patrol. And I'm like, well, where is he? Oh, he's downstairs in the truck. I'm like, of course he is. Go get it, hurry up, and now it's an adventure. So we're on the same page. What about this notion of a lot of players, former players, not letting their kids play football? Would you be in favor of your kids playing football, yes or no? And then are you letting them do the full tackle? Is it more of a flag football thing? Give me your take on that.
I'm allowing my kids to do whatever it is they want to do. If they want to play football, they can play football. I don't want to try to, hold them back from whatever their purpose or their calling is, because I really don't know what that is for them. Only they can figure out what their purpose is and where their true passion lies. And so, I don't want to hold them back from those things. If they really want to play football, then I'm going to be their coach. I'm going to be their workout coach. I'm gonna be their whatever it is. But at the same time, I'm gonna make sure that they know and understand all the risks that come along with playing this game, because you're putting your body at risk. You're putting your brain at risk. You're putting your livelihood at risk when you step on that football field. And as you know, Mark, it's a sport for grown men. And you start as a young kid, and as you grow into the sport, you just start to see how the athletes get bigger, stronger, and faster at each level, right? And I'm gonna make sure my kids understand, every single part of, this game of football. But I do have one requirement from my kids. If they play football, they have to play quarterback. They are not allowed to play any other position.
Okay, then the most important question. The most important question, are you going to let Matt Leinart coach them or Mark Sanchez coach them?
I'm going to let y'all both coach them.
The politician, Reggie Bush. Wow. Can't get a straight answer out of him, folks. He's slippery.
I'm dead serious about that position. They have to play quarterback. They're not allowed to play any other position, because that's the position where you're going to have the most leverage. You know what I'm saying? And so I would never want my kids to play running back. If I could go back, I probably would have played quarterback. I probably would have been like a Lamar Jackson, type of player. But I want my kids also to be in a position where they're in control. They're required to be a leader. A lot is demanded for them, because I know they'll be able to handle that, and I'll be able to put them in the right position to be able to handle that.
You talked about the quarterback position. You got to be a leader. This is going to segue right into, what were your first impressions of me? I have some first impressions of you. When I first got to USC, you, to be completely candid, are one of the reasons I decided to go to SC, because they were recruiting players like you. I got to watch you on TV locally, and I was just like, oh my God, this is where I got to be. I want to be like Carson. I want to be like Matt Leinart. I want to play with guys like Reggie, with Lendell, with all these superstars that USC brought to the school. If you can remember back to my freshman year, which would have been your Heisman year, 2005, do you have any first impressions of me? Hotshot quarterback coming out of Orange County. Go ahead, tell everybody what you thought.
Honestly, I thought you, as a player, when I watched you on the field, I thought you had great mechanics. I still remember the way that when you drop back and when you step into your throws, I thought you had great mechanics, and I thought it looked good. You can't say that for a lot of quarterbacks, right? Like, you gotta.
Sure.
There's a style, that every quarterback has and they bring to the game, and some of it works, some of it doesn't work. But I thought you had mechanics that told me that you were coached well. But even, at every level, whenever I watched you and I watched your presence in the pocket, I always thought it was elite. And I always thought it was NFL ready.
I appreciate
at
that.
every level, man. So honestly, those are my first impressions of you when I saw you, the player. Now, you, the person? Nah, we got to talk about that, man, because I don't know, bro.
I don't want to get into all that. I just said as a player. Yeah, I was a little goofy, a little quirky, fine. Go ahead, tell as a person. I mean, I was hilarious, I was witty, I fit right in, I had beautiful hair. Go ahead, say all those good things.
No, you were like every other freshman. You know what I mean? You were trying to figure it out. You probably thought you knew it all. You know what I mean? Because you got coached well, and we had I'm sure the defense humbled you a couple times, very similar to the way they humbled me my freshman year a few times. That's what made us great, though. You know what I mean? It didn't matter who you were. It didn't matter where you came from. It didn't matter what program or what coaches you had. You were going to get humbled when you came through USC at some point in time. But also in that moment, you were going to grow and you were going to learn and you were going to become a man. That's what I saw for all of us. I saw that.
I love
for
that.
Everybody that came through the program. And it didn't start with us. A lot of people think it started with us. It actually started a year before I got there with Carson and with Troy Polamalu and, with all that team when they beat Iowa in the Orange Bowl. That's where I committed because I saw that game and I was like, damn, I want to be a part of that. I want to be like Carson. I want to be like Justin Fargas and Sutan and Kareem Kelly and Kerry Coburn and all these guys. So for the same reasons you committed, the same reason I did.
You got to get humbled, and so there's a little known story about this beautiful head of hair that I came into school with. And I remember in freshman camp, I went out to practice one day and my dad's like, whoa, what happened to your head? What did happen to my head, Reggie? What, you and Frosty and Matt?
It was
Snake Liner?
Listen, man, we had to make sure. First of all, your hair looked crazy. You looked like you was a Spartan soldier from 300 with your hair like that, man. We had to give you some
Can you
style.
see the clip?
No
Can you see
style.
it?
What do you expect? Yeah, I see it. I'm looking right at it. Look at it.
Fresh start. God, look at that. Beautiful with the headband.
300. He thought he was in the movie 300.
Oh, man. Well, I just also like to put out, there was a group of people who thought I was actually crying when my hair was being shaved. I would like to set the record straight here and remind people that these were unsanitary clippers. They were rusty. They were pulling at the hair follicle down to the root. And much like when you pull out a nose hair, it made my eyes water a little bit. Okay.
You look like Greg Carlson right there. You look like GC.
That was necessary. I think all that kind of stuff is great because it was done in fun. It was done to remind everybody, like you said, I think you said it perfectly, that no matter where you came from, no matter what you represent coming in, hey, we all start from square one here. We're all Trojans first. Let's build this bond as a team. And that's what made that school so great. And as that has to happen, somebody has to lead all that. And, you know, obviously it was Coach Carroll. Something about him made me gravitate towards that school. It was different than any other coach I talked to. It was something special. And we all know him as a guy who's like spinning a basketball, chewing bubblegum, talking to a recruit, and hitting a baseball at the same time. Like, you don't know how he does it, but he does it. What was like the Coach Carroll story that sticks out to you, whether it was in recruiting, while you're playing? What about Coach Carroll made that team so special?
I think it's just his personality. I think it's his character. I haven't seen coaches or anybody replicate, what Coach Carroll, brings to the game. And I think that's why it's special, because you can't duplicate, what he does and what he brings to the game. His energy is just different. His energy is always up, even in the bad games, times where we either had some bad plays or we lost the game or whatever it was, his energy, he was always the same person. Guys fed off of his energy. So I think when you have a coach with a young mentality, he was a player's coach. Guys love to, be around him. He was always playing tricks on us, and he was always, taking us places, and we were having fun. And so it made football a little less stressful, because football in itself is already a very stressful sport. And when you have coaches who can add, the fun factor to it, guys, appreciate that. And I think guys see that and they appreciate it, and it makes them want to go out and give 110%. And it also, builds character within a team too, because if your coach is fun and easygoing, well, guess what? The rest of the team is going to be like that. And then if you also at the same time are able to demand accountability, demanding work ethic, demanding respect, in and amongst the whole team and coaches, and you're also creating a very, very highly competitive environment, that's a recipe for success.
Coach Carroll, something he told you during recruiting, anything he tried to remind you while you were playing? For me, there were a couple things. One, in the Rose Bowl, I ended up starting in against Penn State. He grabbed me in like the third quarter and during a crucial third down and just pulled me away from Sark. We called a timeout, decided what to do on 3rd and 3. Are we going to run it? Are we going to throw it? Are we going to roll out, play action, whatever? We're in the middle of this discussion during a timeout, and he just pulls me away, and he's like, is this great or what? This is everything I told you when you were 18 years old. You'd be the starting quarterback in the Rose Bowl at USC. Look around, man. This is awesome. And I'm like, Coach, you are nuts. We got to go convert a third down. I need you to shut up. I got to go figure out what's going on here. And in that moment, I couldn't get where he was, right? I couldn't grasp it because I was so in that moment. But he had this ability to be able to see the bird's eye view and be right there in the mix.
The one thing that I used to love that we did as a team was, we just, like, even on the sidelines, like, it could be, we just scored a touchdown, or, and sometimes they still do it. You just see a big mosh pit on the sideline.
All hands on deck.
Teammates, all hands on deck, and everybody just going crazy. You know what I mean? And all the guys right there on the field. And that was us kind of just, celebrating and enjoying the moment, right? And so when people see that, if you don't understand the culture, you might take that as arrogance, and you might look at that as, oh, who do they think they are? Or, who do they, think they are to be able to act that way right now in the middle of a game. But that's us taking in the moment. That's us enjoying every step of the way in that game, every play. You know what I mean? And to me, when we did things like that, because we didn't just do that at games, we also did that in meeting rooms.
Right.
We did that
that was who the team was.
Practices. Yeah. That's just who we were. That was not something we were trying to sell to the TV. We weren't trying to do it just because we were in a big game. Like I said, we were in meeting rooms where we literally destroyed the whole team meeting room. And I was like, man, somebody is about to get fired over this because there's a lot of broken tables in here. You know what I mean? Like things got broken, in team meeting rooms. But if you think about that now, like no coach would ever allow something like that to happen because they would be too afraid of, just whatever would happen, whatever might come out from that. But during that time period, when I look back on those kinds of things, those moments that we had where we were building our chemistry, we were building character, we were also growing tighter, closer and closer together. That's why we were unbeatable pretty much for most of the years I was there because we had each other's backs in every situation and we knew exactly what we were getting out of each man. And I knew exactly what I was getting out of my linemen, the linebackers, the safeties, receivers. Like I knew what I was getting out of everybody. And we knew we mashed all that up together and we put it, in the right direction. Nobody could beat us.
Looking back one more time to your favorite plays at USC, two come to mind right away if there's another one for you. But the flip against UCLA, I remember watching on TV. And then the behind the back Fresno State, I got to see in person, like your entire 2005 Heisman campaign. I got to watch from a pretty good seat on the sidelines and was just blown away with the whole thing.
Here's the thing about that play, man. First thing, I think that was the play that kind of put me on the map. That was my freshman year, and that was one of the longer runs that I had that really kind of showed people, really who I was. I actually almost dropped the ball when I was switching it in my hand. You see, like the ball was really low. And so thankfully, there was nobody coming from behind me on my left to strip it because that would have been a fumble. And so then as I'm going down the sideline, DJ makes a great block, knocks a guy out behind me. And all I got is one guy to beat. And so after I beat him, I feel somebody clip my heels. And that's when I dove in the air because I thought I was about to get tackled. And that was the guy, you saw when I cut back, there was a guy that kind of clipped my heels. And I just dove. And I'll be honest with you, I was not planning to do a flip. It just happened. And I just happened to tuck and roll with it.
That's pretty athletic.
Any of the other
I don't know
guys
if I could have done that.
I've been making cutback moves like that since I was 9 years old, honestly. And I'll tell you how it started because when I first started playing football, I fell in love with it right away. And I fell in love with just the craft of wanting to be great. And so my first year, I was 9 years old, when I would get the football, I didn't want anybody to touch me. So I was, really running away from people not because I didn't want to get tackled, just because I didn't want them to touch me. And so as I started to get better and better at not, allowing people to touch me, I started making people, look more and more stupid. And, that was something I have been doing, honestly, since I was 9 years old. And I can show you videos and clips of, and it obviously, it looked a lot more unathletic when I was 9. It looked like a baby deer first learning how to walk. And then, as you get older and older, you just get better and better at it.
You're going to have to use those moves when life gets back to normal out in the streets, people coming for pictures and stuff. Just, COVID, no thanks. Just dodging people.
I got to teach my sons those moves now.
Exactly, bro. You got to show them that. If they need any help, obviously call me first. We talk about not just the style of play, but the way players are today and social media. How has that changed players? Talk about the new legislative measures that are put in place for name, image, and likeness. For example, a guy like Trevor Lawrence, right? This guy can make $100,000 this year if he wants, just on, posting stuff on his social media.
Yeah.
And let me preface this too with, I don't think anybody has a problem with the gold medal swimmer, the gold medal soccer player that wants to host a summer camp and charge people $100 and has, 50 people come to their summer camp and they want to promote it on their social media. I don't think people have an issue with that, right? They should be able to do that. I'm assuming you agree with that.
Yep. I agree.
And then now when you talk about players being able to make hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then that's when people start, you start turning heads a little bit and rubbing people the wrong way, like, oh, well, now they're not student athletes, or now they're not this. They're professionals, this, that, and the other. I'd like to get your take on just the name, image, and likeness scenario. Yeah. Could you have played in a forum like this? Because, I heard Colin Cowherd say it, but you and Tebow, I don't know if anybody would have made more money in college football based on their name, image, and likeness, which you can't control that from somebody. Like, an institution shouldn't be able to take that away from you. So what do you think about social media, this name, image, and likeness? Just give me your thoughts on it and the current climate.
Well, when I hear people say anything negative about kids being able to monetize and benefit off of their own name, off their own likeness, and off their own image, I laugh, because those are people who don't truly understand, just how college sports works. Because without the players, the sport doesn't exist. And that's first and foremost. We can say, that there's the universities provide, this and that, and there's TV contracts. Sure. None of that exists without the players first, right? And so the thing about the human body, right, when these athletes are starting to peak, right? When we started to peak, we were around 19, 20. I made a significant leap in my physical, build, and also mentally as well, from my freshman year to my sophomore year. It was a huge jump, sure. Right? And that's, again, even as a freshman, as we watched one of those runs, I think I was probably maybe 185 pounds. You know what I mean? Once I left USC, I think I was about 208. And that's a big difference. You know what I mean?
Huge difference.
For a running back, that's a huge difference, right? And so you have athletes who are making these significant jumps, again, around 19, 20, 21 years old, and that's when they're in their prime, right? And so the thing that I always come back to is, in no other form of work, and literally no other form of work, do you sign a contract and that company literally owns you. They own everything about you. They can sell everything about you. They can sell bobbleheads, all these different things, and you don't get a dime of that. You know what I mean? You get back a scholarship, you get back a scholarship, which when you match those two up, the return on that scholarship, right, that the university could get is millions and millions of dollars, right? And so what you could get back versus what you're dishing out is a significant gap in between there.
Right,
and
they don't add up.
It just doesn't add up, and it's not fair, because there's a lot of families that are being hamstringed, for a couple more years, while they wait, hoping that their son or their daughter is going to make it to the next level, right? And we know that very few players from each team, from each university get drafted, right? And even if you do get drafted, you're not guaranteed to have a long career. So a lot of times, you think about Tom Brady, who, got drafted later. You think about some of these other players who go undrafted. It's tough, right? But the one thing that I think the one thing you should always be rewarded for is going to college. Because for people like me and people who come from the inner city and people who come from worse situations than I did, this is an opportunity of a lifetime for them to change their life and for them to change their family's lives and to be able to provide for their family. So if you go to USC, you should be rewarded for that. You know what I mean? You should be rewarded for going to a prestigious university. You should be rewarded for going to, these different colleges, because, this is an opportunity for you to change your life and to build on your brand and to build on, your resume. But this is a thing that I think is the biggest misconception about, collegiate athletes is when you go to college, you get the scholarship. you're good. Like everything about your life is good. You have nothing else to complain about. You have no more worries.
Sure.
You have no issues because you're going to college. You know what I mean? You're going to do something that I didn't get a chance to do. So what are you complaining about? You know what I mean? Or what do you have to, to worry about? But I think it's quite the opposite. I think that's when the pressure turns up, because for a lot of young kids coming from nothing, this is their opportunity to change their life and to change their family's life. And you got to think about how much pressure that is, for a young kid, right? For a young black kid who's coming from nothing. And for most of these kids who get scholarships, they are looked at as the savior of the family. They're looked at as the one who is going to take that family to a better life, to a better place, right? And so what I'm saying is that college shouldn't be the place that hamstrings you. It should be the place where you're rewarded because you now have an opportunity to go and do something that your family never did, that nobody in your family ever got a chance to. So I think you got to put it in, I think you got to put it in context, because it's bigger than just saying, oh, well, now that we're rewarding, allowing kids to make money off their name, image, and likeness, now it's the wild, wild west. Now it's just going to be chaos and this. And no, it's not going to be chaos. Because now you're going to allow families to eat a little bit better at a much earlier rate. You're gonna allow families to be able to, just enjoy a little bit better, right? And isn't that what life is about, right? Isn't that what,
of course,
going to, college should be about? This is opportunity for you to build. And so if a university is going to make millions off of you, I should be able to make some money off of me too.
I agree with that. Great, strong points, Reg. I think in line with what you've just said is there's so much information about this stuff. One, people who don't know should be educated on what exactly name, image, and likeness is, how that works, all that kind of stuff. What I can see now projecting forward is a school like USC, Texas, Alabama, the big blue bloods of college football is guaranteeing these young prospects, hey, I can get you an appearance or this many appearances for this amount of money, almost up front, right? Like guaranteeing in the recruiting process. Like, this is what we can do. And the boosters can get together and say, hey, come to my golf tournament, come speak at our dinner, tell us what it's like to play for Alabama or whoever. And you can make anywhere from 10 to 30 grand. Do you think that guy in the locker room is going to have trouble with the other guys in the locker room who don't get to do that? Or do you equate it to the NFL? Because some guys get marketing deals, some guys don't. How do you think that? Do you think the kids are old enough at 19, 20 to understand that?
Listen, this is the funny thing about, college is on one side, people expect you to be an adult, right? On one side, people are like, no, you're an adult now. You should be, making adult decisions and doing adult things. And then on like the other side, they're like, but if you get the money, then we don't know. We don't fully trust you yet. We're not sure if you can handle it. You know what I'm saying? And so it's you can't have it both ways. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, what you're doing is, again, like I said, you're giving young kids an opportunity to better their life. And that's all it's about. You're giving young kids an opportunity to better their life. It shouldn't be, well, there's going to be jealousy, or, well, there's already jealousy in the locker room. It's competition. Right. You know what I mean? Right. Like, guys are competing. The college is not the last stop. Nobody's going to college thinking that, oh, this is my final stop in life. You know what I mean? People are going there to improve on their life. You know what I'm saying? And so, you can't say on one end that, we expect you to be adults. We expect you to do adult things. But once you get money, whew, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? Because that is where it gets ugly. And what that really sounds like is, a bunch of people who are trying to make millions and millions of dollars off of young kids and telling them that, you're not ready yet. And that's unfair because you're doing it at the most vulnerable time. And you're doing it at the time where they should be able to start to understand and learn how to buy a house. You shouldn't learn how to buy a house when you're first trying to buy a house. You know what I mean? You should be learning in college how to invest into the stock market, how to invest in real estate. What is the difference between investing in a business and investing in real estate? How can you lower your taxes through all those different things? Because that is exactly what the universities are doing. They're taking the money that they make off of you, off of us, and they're investing that into business. They're investing that into real estate, and they're investing that into all these things, and they're seeing a return off of that money they're investing, right? So why aren't we getting a piece of that, is all I'm saying.
I love that. And this brings us to one of our final segments. Reg, I got to ask, who wore it best with the name, image, and likeness going on? Listen, the video game's coming back, Reg. Look at your boy here. I'm trying to get it out of the glare.
Look at. Whoa. Let's hold that up real quick.
I keep this in my wallet. I keep this in my wallet. It unfolds at any time. I can carry it around with me at all times. I'm sure you do too. Who wore it better? Was yours better or was mine better? We're going to show you a picture of yours. I feel like because your old pixelated ass didn't look as good on your cover, mine gets the winning vote. Can we show the Reggie one? Oh my God, I can't even see that. It looks like Minecraft.
A little nasty. Mine was like a little nasty. They still were, trying to figure out this whole high definition thing and this clarity thing. Yours just looks better for sure. Yeah. Hey, but let me say this though. All right, you remember I was talking about your presence in the pocket. Look at you got the ball high, right where it's supposed to be. I broke it down for you, man. I got you figured out. I know who you are.
My dog. Okay, last thing NFL
But you got that ugly ass knee brace on there though. That's the only thing.
Chill out. That was a school thing. Everybody had to wear the knee brace. You know how it went.
That's where you lose.
I took it out for the Rose Bowl. I took it off for the Rose Bowl and balled out.
You lose 100 points for that knee brace.
Dang. Okay. For Corona stuff going on, you see these guys having their camps locally. You got Darnold going out to Florida. You see somebody filming Tom Brady with a drone at his, some practice facility at a high school in Tampa. If you're in the locker room right now, number one, I mean, are you, as if you were still a player today, are you playing? Are you good? Like, what's going on?
At the end of the day, it's always about health, right? Has to be about health and safety first, right? And so if I'm a player and I know that we have things in place that are going to keep me and my teammates and our coaches safe and healthy, sign me up. Let's go play. Let's go, you know what I mean? If we got to have less fans in the stands or we got to have no fans in the stands, I really don't care because I'm going out there and I got one job to do, and that's to, to be victorious at the end of the day. So football is football. And guys, I believe probably most of the guys feel that same way. Most of the guys, want to play football, and listen, at the end of the day, a lot of those guys need that paycheck too, so we can't forget that as well. While we, view football and the NFL as a form of entertainment, which it is, it's also a way for a lot of young men to make a living. It's a way for, them to provide for their families and for all these other things that they do in the communities as well. So we got to remember that as well. There's a lot of guys that need those paychecks. If they can play, if they're going to be healthy, man, let's go.
Totally agree with what you just said. The Chiefs, 49ers, we know who's kind of at the top, the upper echelon of the NFL from last year. You played on two different teams in the AFC East. Is the AFC East wide open because Tom Brady's gone? Does New England still have a foothold? Give me your take. Is it the Bills? Is it the Dolphins? Who's making a real push for that?
It's definitely not the Patriots this year, unless I think they should go get Cam Newton. Call me crazy, but it's just like, well, why wouldn't you? He's the best available option sitting out there. I see his Instagram feeds. Dude works his butt off, day in and day out.
Would you take him? Would you take him or Kaepernick right now?
I would take him. He's the most closely removed. But that doesn't mean that Cap can't still do it. It's just Cap hasn't played for 4 years. So you don't know what you're getting. I know what I'm getting out of Cam Newton. I know also he's going to have a huge, tremendous chip on his shoulder because if you bring him to New England, one, he's already going to have a chip on his shoulder because he's going to want to prove that he's not a bust and that he can still do it. And two, he's going to be coming right after Tom Brady. So he's going to want to perform. He's going to want to perform as well or try to outperform, what Tom Brady did. You got to, to me, it just makes sense. I just don't know, is Belichick ready for that style of a quarterback? I think Cam Newton was a little bit before his time because had he come out now with the way that we see quarterbacks used.
100% agree.
Like Lamar Jackson, you know what I mean? Even Deshaun Watson, I think Cam Newton would be in a much different position. He is a dual threat quarterback. Everybody knows that. They just never, they never truly immersed into who Cam Newton was. I think they played around with it a little bit and, they use it as gadget plays, but I don't think they really allowed Cam Newton to be Cam Newton. He got injured and he got beat up, and that comes with the territory. That's the other side of being a dual threat quarterback.
Of playing like that.
I think we're going to see more of that. I think we're going to see more quarterbacks now start to fade out, true dual threat quarterbacks start to fade out like running backs. You know what I mean? Because, by year 11, 12, that wear and tear, I've been saying it as long as I was on TV. Cam Newton plays like a running back. If you play like a running back, you're going to suffer the consequences of a running back. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I can't imagine trying to throw a football after, I just went down the middle on Ray Lewis.
That, yeah.
On Ray Lewis or Troy Polamalu or, all these guys. Like, I can't imagine trying to go back and throw a football after that, after hitting these guys in the hole. So that's what happened to Cam Newton. That wear and tear caught up to him. And again, it doesn't matter how big you are. The NFL is a violent game for grown men. Yep. And it's not for the weak. This ain't basketball. This ain't soccer. This is for grown men. And it will eat away at you slowly but surely if you play the game at a physical, like a physical running back.
No doubt. You're talking about the last of a dying breed, these pocket quarterbacks. Tom Brady, maybe one of the best of all time, but that style is ancient almost. It feels
ancient.
It doesn't equate nowadays. Like you said, these quarterbacks are coming in. They're different types of athletes.
Patrick Mahomes, he dislocated his knee. He can move, but he also dislocated his knee. You know what I mean? And, that happened. Nobody knew how he was going to come back from that. But that's a scary situation for a quarterback, when you go through something like that. And as much as I love Lamar Jackson and I love Patrick Mahomes, and I love Deshaun Watson because I think they're changing the game, I'm also scared because they've taken a lot of hits. Lot of hits. Deshaun Watson is getting lit up.
We're saying Tom Brady, last of a dying breed. Do they have a shot? Are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in Reggie Bush's mind, are they Super Bowl contenders?
I think they have a shot because if you look at what Jameis Winston did last year, which a lot of people look at the bad, he threw 30 interceptions, but he also threw 5,000 yards in that offense. He also
well, just ask him. Touchdowns. He said, I'm balling, or what did he say? He said, I'm balling.
He also threw 30 touchdowns while throwing 30 interceptions, which is unheard of, right? It's literally like one of the, it's unheard of, man. It's to be able to do something like that. And so to me, I'm looking at, let's say Tom Brady just goes in there and protects the football, right? They're already, that already puts them in a conversation for winning the division just by protecting the football. I think they have a great shot, and obviously, what the New Orleans Saints have been going through, so far, with everything surrounding social injustice and Drew's comments, this is going to be a tough year, I think for the Saints, not to say that they can't get it done, but I think they're bringing baggage into the season. And, I've been on teams before where things have happened that are out of your control or somebody says something or whatever it is. And the team has to answer questions about that all season long. You know what I mean? Or, the second you have a bad play or you don't play well in that game, guess what they're going to be asking you about? You know what I mean? They're not going to be asking you about,
they're not asking about the play.
They're going to try to be divisive, and they're going to try to figure out what is the root of these issues of why you guys are winning or aren't winning. You know what I mean? And so that's what I foresee for this season. I think it's going to be a very entertaining season in 2020, just because of everything that's already happened, and we still don't even know. And I think it's going to be a great season. But I do think Tampa is the one team in the NFC South that the Saints have to watch out for.
All right, some bold predictions from Reggie Bush. Thanks again, man, for your time. We appreciate you coming on and maybe picking the Buccaneers in the NFC South, if I have that correct, but against your own former Saints. But we know you got to run, Reg. We really appreciate the time. Thank you for agreeing that my college football cover was, in fact, better than yours. I also agree with that. We appreciate your views, Reg.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Fight on, buddy, and we'll talk to you soon.